Hey there campers and welcome back to the channel. Mark here with another deck tech video. We're going to go over a new deck that I'm playing in our Star Wars Discord League that we're playing over at Lux Digital Church. I've really been having a blast with this league. I think last week was my Kylo Green week. We went 2-0 with that deck. And so far we've played Bosk Green, just like a ramp bounties deck. It was super fun. We went 2-1 with that deck. We played Ray Green. We went 1-2 with that deck, sort of like a mid-range anti-aggro list. Unfortunately, for that one, we went up against last season's champion who was playing New Han 2 blue, really wrecked us there. Then we played Cad Green, had a chance to go 2-0 with that deck. That was a really fun deck. Just sort of like ramping up and just dominating people with some really high-end cards. And then last week we played Kylo Green, which was probably my favorite deck so far. Had a ton of fun playing that one. A ton of discard in that deck, just crippling my opponent's hand. I think in both games I got Kylo out on turn 2, and then was quickly using things like Force Throw and Pillage to remove cards from my opponent's hand. It was great to be able to use cards like Migs. If you enjoyed that video last week, I really had a great time playing that deck. Thought it was a ton of fun. That all being said, I ended up going out to Columbus, Ohio, a weekend or so ago with my family, and out there they have a really cool card shop. Little shout out to Little Root Games in Gehenna. I think it's called Gehenna, Ohio, just outside of Columbus. I had ordered some cards off of them because I had traded away a couple of cards that I wanted to get back into my collection. And I just swung by instead of having them shipped to us. I swung by and stopped by their shop while I was in Columbus to pick up my cards and bought a couple of cards while I was there. I ended up picking up 3 copies of the card Command because I realized I had played a couple variations of red-green. I had played a yellow-green and a blue-green deck, but I was yet to play double green. And a lot of the reason for that was I simply didn't own the cards that would make double green really good, which of course is, a lot of those cards, the legendaries from set 1, your command, your vigilance, your aggression, your cunning. I own cunnings. I own a copy of aggression, a copy of vigilance, but I had no copies of command. So I picked up a playset of command and threw this deck together. This is kind of, I guess, sort of the boogeyman of the format right now, but I have my own variation of it with a lot of tech that has been super fun to play, and we're going to grab a couple of games with it today. So today we're going to be playing Green Palpatine. I actually think I only made like one version of this list and have liked it from the very beginning. Have really enjoyed playing it. Palpatine has the ability, if you pay 1 resource and exhaust him, to deal 1 damage to a unit and draw a card. And then, of course, when he flips on 8 resources, he comes into play as a 4/10 that allows you to take control of a damaged unit, not just for the round, but permanently. In this case, we're going to play Command Center, which is the first time that we've played Command Center and not played Energy Conversion Lab. I think that this deck is the 5 health is probably a little bit more important than that ability to aggress in with something, especially because a lot of our units are going to end up either having ambushed towards the end of the game, or you're going to see, because we have a little bit more limitations on what we can actually play, we're going to play 3 Timely Intervention in this deck. So let's go over the list and go over each card in it, running 3 copies of Timely Intervention, allowing us to just give ambush to something. The beautiful thing about this card is we can resource it. We have a ton of ramp in this deck, and we're going for the long game, so we really don't mind paying 2 extra resources to be able to ambush something later. We play the Good Colonel here as well, a 2-resource 2/3 that has the Imperial and Officer's keyword, which are very good for us in this deck. And then also, every time you play a green unit, you can heal 1 from your base. He is unique. Scanning Officer. This card's been an MVP. Very, very strong. 2-resource 2/3 that when you play it, once again, Imperial and Official, so you are going to be able to get the bonus from the next card that we're going to be playing. You get to look at 3 resources that your opponent has put down, and then any of them with Smuggle gets discarded, and you put cards into play for them. You don't get rid of their resources, but you do get rid of their smuggled cards, which has been incredibly powerful, getting rid of like techs and DJs early in the game. An Imperial Royal Guard, we're running 3 copies of that. This is just, a 3-resource 3/5 that has Sentinel if you've either played the Colonel or the Scanning Officer ahead of time. A lot of times we're not playing this because we do want to be ramping on turn 3 or, at 3 resources, but it is an incredibly strong card to hit with some of our cards later. Resupply, no surprise there. Phase 3 Dark Trooper, no surprise there. Super Laser Tech, no surprise there. Black Sun Starfighter has been one of my favorite new cards in set 2, so I'm including 3 of those in this deck as well. A lot of our early game. I am teching 1 copy of Tech. Now, that might seem a little bit crazy, but Tech allows you to dig anything out of your resource pile, which allows me to resource some of my bigger stuff towards the beginning of the game. And if we get to the end of the game where I'm sitting at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 resources, I can pull Tech out of my resource row for 6 resources and then begin playing stuff out of my discard or out of my resource row. Tech has been really great for this deck. In grindy games, he basically just wins us the game in a lot of cases. If my opponent can't immediately get rid of him, I can go back into my resource row and pull out Reinforcement Walkers to pull out some of these other cards, especially when, we're looking at points in the game where we're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 resources into the game, which can happen with this deck. Between Resupply, Super Laser Tech, and the next card, that can happen with this deck. You can really get crazy resources. So I run 1 copy of Tech. I usually resource him and pull him out for 6. It's only a 2 penalty. Towards the end of the game when you want to play him anyway, who cares? He's just a great thing to have in the resource row. Command, I can choose 2 in any order, get 2 experience tokens. A friendly unit deals damage to a non-unique enemy unit. I can put it in play as a resource or return a unit from my discard pile to my hand. This allows me a little bit of tech, a little bit of removal, a little bit of buff, but also, of course, resourcing, which is very powerful. Enterprising Lackeys is the double resource, second double resource I have in this deck. New card, really, really, really strong. 4 resource, 5/5, which is just great. But when defeated, you can defeat a resource. If you do, you can put this into play as a resource, and this smuggles out for 6. So really strong, just allows me to keep constantly putting 5/5s on the board. Basically just an endless stream of pressure for my opponent to deal with. Overwhelming Barrage, obviously. Traitorous, you're playing green, you're going to put 1 Traitorous in. Pirate Battle Tank, once again, something else that I can smuggle. I just love the sheer amount of things that I can smuggle in this deck and go get back later between my tech, my enterprising lackeys, my timely intervention. Very frequently, my resourcing turns just are a lot easier because I'm just putting the things that are smuggleable later into my resource row. We're playing something a little spicy here. 1 copy of Evacuate, return each non-leader unit to its owner's hand. Now this is going to cost 8 for us, which really isn't terrible because we're actually playing it on Palpatine turn. So in the case that I flip my Palpatine, take 1 of your things, use Palpatine to attack in and kill it, and you're still beating me on board because you have a lot of stuff. Usually Palpatine's the only thing on my board. I can then evacuate and bump everything back to their player's hands. And so if I'm losing the board, and especially if I get Palpatine out, it doesn't really matter. On the Palpatine turn, sometimes the ability to evacuate, I also very frequently resource these couple of tech cards that you're going to see, because I'm going to resource them and then bring them out with tech. So tech, he increases the cost of something by 2. So for 10, I can evacuate. But if I literally played a game against a guy the other day who had played Endless Legion. And it was a game that I was going to lose. And I had a tech on board and evacuate in my resource row on 10 plus resources. We were at 14 at that point. And I was able to evacuate, knocking all of his Endless Legion stuff back to his hand and destroying his resource row. It was super good. Really enjoyed that card. Running a singular copy of Count Dooku. This is going to cost us 9, but once again, sometimes even more. It's just a really good piece of removal in case we need it. 3 copies of Darth Vader. 1 copy of Super Laser Tech. This is going to cost us 10, but that's totally fine with us sometimes. Reinforcement Walker. Of course, the Assault Cruiser, of course. The Avenger, this is going to cost us 11, which is pretty pricey, but once again, this deck can get up there, and sometimes it just doesn't matter because Avenger is that good. And 11 at 12 or even 13 resources at the very top end, we can timely intervention from our resource row to get this Avenger out and trigger its ability. Once again, once we're getting up there in the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 resource area, we're grinding out the game. It doesn't matter. We're glad to pay double for Avenger, pay extra for Avenger and a timely intervention to remove 2 of their things sometimes. Relentless, 9 resource, 8/8, just super strong. We're running all these capital ships. We have a single copy of Devastator. I only own a copy of Devastator. I think I would actually run 2 copies of Devastator and maybe drop the Relentless or 1 of the Assault Cruisers. if given the opportunity, but I only have one copy of Devastator right now, so we're only running one in the deck. Okay, so that's the deck. I know it's sort of a wonky deck. You got the tech, you got the Evacuate deck, you got the Dooku, the Laser Blast, the Avenger, all of the strange cards, but I have a ton of fun with this deck, and it's actually been pretty successful for me. I think that Green Palpatine gives you the most ability to play out-of-aspect tech cards because you have so many resources, and because you have things like Enterprising Lackeys, just to be able to continually put pressure on your opponent from your resource row. I find it to be really powerful. We're going to dive into a couple of games over on Karabast and show you how the deck plays, see if we can't get a couple of dubs. Thank you guys for tuning in the video. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when we're putting new stuff out. Let's go ahead and over to Karabast and we'll jump into a couple of games. Okay, guys, for our first game here, we're up against an Iden blue deck, which super interesting. I'm kind of curious to see, or an Iden green deck, how this will go. It's certainly going to be ramp versus ramp. We're not going to take the mulligan here because we do have the super laser tech. We do have the resupply. He is going first here. We have the tech in hand. We're just going to put our tech in our resource row along with one of our phase 3 troopers. Depending on what my opponent, okay, our opponent's going to take this. We're just going to take initiative from him right off the bat here. We're going to go ahead and put the Evacuate back. And I don't think our opponent will be, like, doing a ton of attacking. He does have the energy conversion lab here. That is a genuine surprise. If you had told me that was coming down, I would not have believed you, but that's fine. Our opponent has the ability to deal a damage here. He's going to probably, yep, just going to attack with him. Makes total sense. Take initiative. We have the command here. The command is really not bad. But I think the thing that we're going to resource in this case is going to, I think we're just ramping as hard and as fast as we can here. So I think we're going to get rid of this, and then a very good chance that we're going to play this into him, and then a pretty good chance that we're going to play, oh, he's going to entrench something, which is interesting. Just wants this thing to have basically infinite life. We'll play another one of these. He's going to play a double entrenched. That's even more interesting. We'll deal the damage and get a damage on him. He's just got this guy. He's thinking, okay, I got a guy up now. He's huge. Can't really get rid of him. Unfortunately, I'm just going to be able to take this guy in a couple of turns. We're going to go ahead and claim initiative. We're already at 7. Now, granted, an 8-10 is big and pretty hard to deal with, but we're already going to be at 7 resources. Timely intervention here. Man, it would be really good if we had the ability to kind of bounce this guy back. We can go to the space lane and win as well. This allows us to go to our discard and claim stuff. Put stuff in as a resource. Let's just resource timely intervention for now. The thing is that Vader is good here, but he's not great. So we're just going to resupply. And, okay, yep, he wants to be able to draw a card. We're just going to do this and take his 8-10 that he double entrenched. He's going to Power of the Dark Side us. Do we care about that? I think that we just get rid of this 8-10 entrenched, and we're totally fine with that. I think that this guy, we're just going to command here. We're going to give experience, and we don't have any units in our discard, so we'll just do a resource here. We just put up our Palpatine. Our opponent's literally almost out of resource. He's going to bounce that back to his hand to deal damage to Palpatine. We don't even care about that. We'll do this. Our opponent is literally sitting at like 5 resources. We get hit with the second Power of the Dark Side, certainly. He's going to go ahead and claim the initiative, which would not be great for us, but we're almost at 10 resources already. I mean, our opponent is really in sort of a sticky predicament in the fact that we've ramped 3 times. There's Rival's Fall. Totally fine with us. Do we want the Enterprising Lackeys in hand? We do. This is just going to draw us cards, which is good for us. Going to go ahead and heal the base with Iden. We're going to claim initiative. I would expect Iden to come out at this point. Start dealing damage to us. This really doesn't matter. Like, the damage is pretty negligible in this case. We have basically the endless Enterprising Lackeys as well, which is really good for us. He really didn't even do anything that round, so that's even better for us. He basically just skipped a turn there. Let's go ahead and attack into the Iden. A timely intervention. We don't need the timely intervention, so we'll just take the 3 healing on our base in this case. We're at 11 resources now. He's going to energy conversion lab. Okay, really wants to get rid of this. That's fine. I think in this case, we're moving over to the other lane. We're not going to resolve the ambush here. We're going to let him take the damage. We'll put this out. That's fine. Just in case we get hit with, you know, something that's pretty tough for us to deal with. We don't have any problem with this because we've claimed initiative, so we can overwhelming barrage. We'll have 9 damage, 6. It's kind of a bummer because we can't just straight up remove this. We'll go ahead and put the enterprising lackeys in the resource row here. I think in this case, we're actually going to attack into this in the beginning and just kind of see, hopefully, once again, we didn't get hit with the power of the dark side here. He's going to hit us with the Rival's Fall. The Rival's Fall comes down. We can actually feel pretty good, I think, playing this. Do we play Vader? I think we play Vader. We do want to ambush. We'll remove this. And then was kind of hoping for something a little bit better than these. Let's pull the Scanning Officer, and let's see what we hit. Entrenched, Moment of Clarity, and the Childson. I would imagine that this is just going to attack into the Vader. He chooses not to attack into the Vader. That's an interesting choice. Probably not one that I would have made there. We'll go ahead and just remove both of these. The Salacious Crumb will take 3, he'll take 4, and we'll just get rid of both. So we're up in cards, and we have the ability to stay up in cards. Once again, guys, we got the tech here, so anything that we've resourced, we can go back and get, which is really good for us. We have the second Scanning Officer, the Enterprising Lackeys. We're going to be at 14 resources. We're just going to resource this resupply. And now we're just waiting for fire, basically, at this point. Our opponent is at 9, so we do have the Avenger possibility, things like that. So we just need to be aware and careful of that. I think in this case, we're actually going to use Timely Intervention to play this. And yep, we're going to go ahead and resolve the ambush, just destroy it, and trying to choose a card here. It's not letting me choose a card. Oh, hopefully we don't hit a bug here. Hopefully we don't hit a bug here. Can we escape? Can we go back and undo that? Okay, let's just undo that. Looks like we hit a little bit of bug there. Apologize to our opponent. Okay, so evidently we don't want to do that, so instead, let's just go ahead and attack in with this. That's totally fine. Our opponent's going to play that. We will go and get our tech out of the graveyard here, and let's go ahead and get, this would be 4. Let's get the Enterprising Lackeys out, and let's get the Scanning Officer. We hit the Pike. Moment of Clarity again. We can deal a damage here. We're just going to pass. We're really hoping that we don't see a super laser blast from our opponent in the opening here. I don't expect to. I think that we can reliably get this Relentless down. And we're kind of grinding our opponent out of options here. Once again, now we can kind of go back. We can get this Reinforcement Walker, which is here, which would be great for us. Are we going to resource here? I think that we do. I think we're just going to get rid of the Colonel here. Our opponent chooses not to resource. He just knows that he's running out of options. We get Relentless down. This is going to cancel the first action that he plays. Probably, arguably, like the best card in the game against my opponent's deck right now. We're a 4/7 with Grit. Okay. Let's go ahead and we can pull anything that we want out of here except the Reinforcement Walker right now. This is 2 experience, 2 tokens, 2 unit, deal damage, something, return something from my discard pile. Let's play this. We'll give experience, or let's deal damage and return a unit. We will choose this to have it deal its damage here, and then let's return this unit to our hand. Once again, guys, you can just see the ridiculous power of tech in these matchups, where I can just, you know, basically I can resource anything that I want, go back and get it. basically infinitely now because I'm sitting at 15 resources. Like, what is my opponent really going to do against me in this case? If you power the dark sides us, we're in a great situation. We're at 16 resources. We can basically play forever here. Sure, yeah, he hits us with the Avenger here. It doesn't really matter, though. In the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We can go ahead and just remove this and get rid of it. And we could have just removed the Avenger, but we're actually going to remove the Avenger, I think, with something else. So deal 1 damage to a unit and draw a card. I have to defeat a friendly unit to do that. 8, we're at 16 resources here. We really want to play these two, which is 15 and 16. So let's go ahead and just play the Vader. And oops, we almost opened up something else on our desktop. Let's go ahead and we are not going to ambush, but we do want to go get something. Let's just go get the Colonel for now. Pass. Oop. Let's get the Colonel. Submit it. And then we're actually going to use the Colonel to... We're going to use Emperor Palpatine. We're going to remove him. Deal a damage here and draw a card. Then we're going to place this. We're going to ambush into the Avenger and remove it. Once again, our opponent still, they can't really play cards from their hand right now. We draw the Devastator. The game is over, guys. The game is absolutely over. Feels really good, guys. Feels really good. You know, a little bit grindy. You can see like the power of the tech inclusion here. We didn't ever even had to use evacuate, but like we have the resources to be able to use it. This is all without playing Endless Legion. Like we don't even need the Endless Legions because we have the tech in our deck. Like the tech is basically the equivalent of an Endless Legion. I suspect that our opponent has maybe just decided he's not going to show up for this last round. After he got that out, I think he probably thought that he was in a really good place. You know, he has to play something into a Super Laser Blast right now because of Relentless that's on the board, and we were just super heavily teched against him here. I'm going to guess that we'll give our opponent a little question mark, see if they're still around. But I suspect that this game is all but over. We'll go ahead and just resource a Black Sun Starfighter. Once again, even if our opponent does decide that he is going to, you know, play an action, let us get the 8 damage in, and then try to super laser tech. Okay, yeah, we see the 7/6 Maul come down. We'll just give him the GG here. We all know that this is game. At 23, he has 3 resources left. We're canceling the next action that he plays. Certainly is going to be really strong here. And we have the Devastator in hand just for the fun of it. And so we'll just take the 5 points of damage to his base. And there it is, guys. The first game. That was super fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Let's go ahead to the main menu. We'll jump into another game here and see if we can't get another win. Okay, guys, we're back. We're playing against a Hondo blue deck. We are going to be looking in the very beginning here, certainly for some sort of ramp. We do want to mulligan because we're not seeing any ramp. And unfortunately, we mulligan into no ramp again. We're going to go ahead and put the tech and the Avenger into our resource row. This deck's probably not super fast. You can kind of put out experience units by smuggling stuff, but luckily for us right now, this deck is not a super quick deck. Hopefully we draw something. We did not draw anything good for us here. We're going to get rid of the Black Sun. Luckily, he didn't have anything to play either. That's not bad for us, but having no ramp in this scenario is not good. This deck, of course, also able to play the Vaders and everything. We're going to claim initiative here off of our opponent. Okay, finally the resupply, which is huge. The scanning officer, however, is also huge. So I think we're actually more prone to play the scanning officer here and also maybe the colonel. And so I think we're going to do this, believe it or not. And then we'll kind of see what my opponent wants to do here. I can give something a bounty. I think that we're going to kick off with just doing this. And let's see what we hit. We hit the Takedown, the Overwhelming Barrage, and the Pike Sentinel. So we actually don't hit, in this case, anything that's super valuable for us to hit. I was hoping that we would hit a couple of his smuggle cards right here in the beginning. Childson coming down. Okay, the coming down as a 5/5. We'll put out the good Colonel here. See what our opponent does. You can, exhaust this to give something a bounty. We're definitely in a bit of a... Oh, player 2 undid their last action. This is going to claim initiative. we're going to go ahead and pass. The command here is huge. He probably attacks in with Child's, and the command could be a really big deal. We're going to resource this. But if he doesn't attack in with the Child's in here, I think we definitely, okay, chooses not to. Smuggle, play this out. He's going to give the experience token there. We can get this guy high enough, so we're going to give the experience token and claim the resource here. We're going to give the experience tokens here. Just basically makes him chuck some guys into us, which is great for us in this scenario. We can draw a card here and remove something. Like, if we're going to lose this either way, right, we might as well remove it here and get rid of the Childson and draw a card. I think that it's just a net positive for us. Our opponent, we're going to go ahead and claim initiative here and not attack with this. Okay, our opponent had something else to play out, so maybe the attack there would have been good, but that's okay. I think at this point we're actually probably going to resource the resupply because we're going to Vader this turn, hands down. So we Vader, that's fine. Yep, we're going to resolve the ambush, remove that, that's fine. And then, did we hit anything here? We do. We hit an Emperor's Royal Guard. We will take that. Our opponent needs to be really careful because, of course, I can Palpatine here coming up. I also have the Assault Carrier, which is really good for us. We get the 3/7 in with a Raid 1. He's certainly going to attack with that, so I think that we just take the 2 damage on his base here. And he's going to have to attack into this, unfortunately for him. Although he is at 6 resources, so if he smuggles something out here, he can power up this guy. Oh, okay. We're getting hit with the Vigilance. All of his resources going out. Getting the shield token. Discard 5 cards from an opponent's deck. Did he hit my... Oh, yep, he discarded cards from my deck. He's playing something pretty grindy here. He's going to take the... the shield token as well. We do get the command here. The command is not at all insignificant. I think that we're probably set to use command here. I think that we just put the super laser tech away. We can also just remove this with the with the overwhelming barrage. In that case, though, we can't really do anything else. So let's give experience tokens. And then we could return a unit. We could make another resource. Another resource isn't bad either. Or we can deal damage. I don't think the damage is going to be nearly as important here. Let's just do this. Let's give the resources to our Vader. Just pump him up, make him more powerful. Let's go ahead and remove this so he can't use any of his super cool smuggle abilities. And then we can play Enterprising Lackeys. The Maul's going to come out. I think the Maul's fine here. He probably attacks into here. Oh. Oh, okay, interesting. He could redirect that damage. That was pretty good. That was pretty good, I'm not going to lie. I think that we're just going to take the Colonel into the Maul and take the Maul. We're going to go ahead and play the Enterprising Lackeys out. Our opponent's going to take his turn. Probably claiming initiative here. We're going to go ahead and deploy and claim his guy. We're not going to sacrifice any of these. We'll just take the 4 damage to base. We're totally okay with that. I think that this was the right time for the flip. It could have not been, but I think it was. We just sort of take control of the board at this point. Once again, anything that's kind of grindy, we have a huge advantage against. We can play Overwhelming Barrage and our Phase 3 Dark Trooper this turn. We also, don't forget, we have the tech still in the graveyard, which is pretty significant. I think we're going to Overwhelming Barrage. We'll hit both of these. Doesn't really matter. We'll deal 3 and 6 and just remove all of his stuff. Kind of see. Now, our opponent could play Heroes Fall or something. The Power of the Dark Side. Yeah, we'll gladly get rid of this and put it back in my resource row. Take the 9 damage on his base. Power of the Dark Side again. Sure, we'll make you kill your own Maul. That's fine. Double Power was pretty good there, but we just take as much damage we could possibly get. Once again, we got Tech and Enterprising Lackeys in the graveyard right now, so I'm not particularly worried about what my opponent wants to do here. We have the ability to Overwhelming Barrage him again. We're just going to put the Timely Intervention. Once again, these cards that have Smuggle on them are just so good for us. Let's go ahead and just do this. And, oh, he does have a shield. Let's undo that. Let's undo that. We forgot that our opponent has a shield. our opponent having a shield is pretty inconvenient here. Let's go ahead and actually play the battle tank. And the reason for that is I'm a little afraid of attacking in with phase 3 Dark Trooper and then getting hit with... I'm a little afraid of getting hit immediately with another Power of the Dark Side. Going to give an experience token there. We're going to attack into it. Probably my opponent is done. He's going to top target our battle tank. We are going to Overwhelming Barrage our Emperor. We're going to deal damage to both. We're going to deal 5. The Collecting Shroop, we're going to 1 there. Deal 5 there. Remove both of our opponent's units. And attack in 4-5. We're going to pass. We're certainly not going to sacrifice this and give our opponent any benefit here whatsoever. We'll take the pass. Another Vader in hand, just continuing to solidify the game. I don't think our opponent's playing anything crazy in that lane, so we can do this. And there it is, guys. Our opponent surrenders and we win the match. Well, there it is. That was 2 games. We saw both of them kind of grindy games, but certainly we had the upper hand there. You can kind of see how the tech came into play. The second game was a little bit more standard, but still really good. I love the random tech cards that I have in this deck. It's been super fun to play. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I think this is the last one before we cut to like top 4, top 8. I think it's top 4 for the Discord League. So hopefully this deck pans out for me and I can get to top 4 and we can continue to play some of these decks. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. Once again, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon here on the channel so you know when we put more videos out. Thanks for coming along this journey with me with Green Decks with our Discord League, and I'll see you in the next video.